Ahoy and welcome. This is Admiral. Wonders in AoE 2 enshrine a strange contradiction. On the one hand, as the most lavish, majestic, spacious, and unique buildings, for some civilizations the only new building unlocked in the Imperial Age, they represent a crowning confluence of cultural, architectural, and other achievements. On the other hand, under the Common Conquest setting, they represent a colossal waste of resources and villager time. Of course, there's the possibility of a wonder victory under the so-called standard settings, and I'm not ashamed to admit to being an occasional wonder enjoyer myself. But for whatever reasons, that mode and path to victory has never been particularly popular, much to the chagrin of one of the original game designers, the great Sandy Peterson.
We built wonders, we used wonders, we played with wonders, and in almost every online game they're turned off. We put a lot of effort into those wonders, and we had some really fun games where the wonders going down to the last second. Every game of Age could have had that because the wonder is a thing.
So it's natural to ask, as many have before me, what if wonders were more useful? What kind of role might they play in more common game modes that would make them at least situationally worth investing in? It's unusual for pro players to comment on this type of what-if scenario, although we have Survivalist doing just that in this year-old Reddit discussion proposing added utility for wonders in Conquest mode, where he voices support for the idea of adding 20 population cap as a common bonus. Other proposals from that thread include a small general combat or villager buff, or a resource trickle, with the bonus being the same for every civilization. Those ideas have the advantage of being simple, useful, and easy to remember, while also being minimally disruptive such that more conservative players might find them palatable. However, in my opinion, generic bonuses lack the unique flavor that could really make wonders more intensely fun and compelling. So in this video, I'll be entertaining the idea of unique wonder bonuses for each civilization, and in collaboration with Robby Lava, so thanks to him for his creative inputs and critiques.
Let's also get Robby Lava on that team as well, and if you don't know his channel, he designs a lot of very creative theory crafting custom civs.
He's made his own video on the topic, but as you'll find with his distinctive style and some exclusive information that makes both our videos worth a watch. For simplicity's sake, this video will only be covering the civilizations from the Conqueror's expansion, and I'll be showcasing a mod that adds unique bonuses to those 5 civilizations, as well as showing you how to implement the bonus chosen for the Aztecs. Speaking of mods, some viewers, including our friend Veni Vidi Creavi, have mentioned the Portuguese civ mod in connection with wonder bonuses, ranged villagers, and some other topics I've covered on this channel. So shout out to the trailblazing creators of that mod, which may be a future showcase of this channel, for those like myself who are not otherwise familiar with it. Although unfortunately it is not available for definitive edition. Back to today's feature though, Robby and I decided to make wonders more accessible by lowering their cost and build time, maintaining their status as the most expensive and time-intensive buildings, but increasing their affordability. In this mod and ideation, we also removed the Wonder Victory component. Although that could plausibly continue to exist in certain game modes, it's best to consider as detached from the powerful bonuses that we'll be considering here. However, the construction announcement and location revelation to enemies will remain, alerting them that this bonus-boosting building is on the way. And the benefits derived from the wonder are dependent on its continual existence, so there's still high incentive to defend or destroy a wonder, just not in such a heavy-handed way as the countdown timer. So let's dive right into the bonuses of the mod, which I've called Age of Wonders. Standard disclaimer that I had to limit testing to meet the collab timetable, and these will not all be perfectly balanced. And indeed, for the 40 civilizations not from the Conqueror's expansion, no bonus is implemented yet, so prepare to be disappointed if you build a wonder with any of those civilizations. But at least you'd be disappointed at a discount relative to current pricing in the real estate market for wonders. We'll start off with the Huns, who have a fairly predictable bonus that you probably could have guessed by looking at their wonder, among other things. So we'll skip the history discussion for them. Even so, I expect you'll find this bonus enjoyable and on brand. Whenever they destroy an enemy building, they receive 20% of that building's cost in gold. While that nets only a few coins per house, it becomes more substantial for larger buildings, with a barracks yielding 35 gold, a castle 130, and a wonder 450 gold. Note that this bonus does not apply to walls, gates, farms, or fish traps.
There are a few provisos, a couple of quid pro quos.
Roman gold. There is no other metal that shines as sweetly.
but this does work for all Castle and Imperial Age Hunnic military units, and in future iterations, I'd consider upping the gold percentage to 25 for Tarkans specifically, in order to incentivize their use, and possibly pairing it with increased building damage. Next up, we have the Maya Wonder, whose bonuses are less self-explanatory and deserve a bit of historical background. The Maya Wonder is the so-called Temple of the Great Jaguar in Tikal, which peaked during the Classic period, so it is to that time and place that we will look for inspiration. The wonder improves the speed of all units within a large radius by 15%, symbolic of the Sakbeob, or white roads that are prominent at Tikal and other Maya centers. The wonder also provides a cost reduction for all buildings, in reference to the prolific monumental and urban construction under Tikal's rulers, who had access to significant manpower and abundant building materials. Finally, Maya buildings now take less bonus damage from earth-shaking siege engines. Maya concrete technology employed advanced processes and additives that provided many of the advantages of Roman concrete or modern Portland cement, providing resilience to endure throughout the centuries. During the last century, a tragic and devastating earthquake demolished tens of thousands of modern buildings in areas around Tikal, and even uprooted trees at the site itself, but with no apparent damage to the ancient buildings.
Mandatum. Liken. Mandatum. Subscribing.
Next up is the Aztec Wonder bonus, a dual benefit that applies to both of their elite warrior orders, the Eagles and the Jaguars. Both of them can now capture enemy units. You're probably familiar with the Aztec unique technology, Garland Wars, or as they would have called it, Xochiyayot, to which the capture of enemies was central. This uses the same mechanic as a monk's conversion ability, and with the same cooldown and need for micromanagement, but at melee range and much more quickly. During a conversion or capture attempt, it will show the attack animation, but without dealing damage. And after a successful capture, the Eagles or Jaguar warriors will automatically resume their standard damage-dealing attack, but can be tasked to attempt capture again once their faith replenishes. Note that Jaguar warriors have a higher capture efficiency than Eagle warriors, justified by their higher cost and the higher damage output you forego by attempting a capture. But if you decide to take no prisoners with these units, there's a benefit for that as well. For every enemy killed by your Eagle or Jaguar warriors, the gold productivity of your relics increases very slightly, highlighting the Aztec belief that bloodshed was rewarded by their gods, and playing into another major purpose of their warfare for the accumulation of wealth. Supposing you kill 150 enemies with Eagle and or Jaguar warriors, each relic you possess will yield 10 more gold per minute, from the already elevated Aztec relic baseline of nearly 40 gold per minute. For those interested in modding, I will briefly summarize how you can mod the 2 Aztec bonuses yourself in the advanced Genie editor, more easily than you might expect. For those less interested in modding, you can skip ahead to the timestamp indicated to hear about the Spanish Wonder bonus.
Alright friends, a little crunched for time. Let's see if I can do a speed run of the modding abilities as promised. I'll be showing you how to do the abilities I've implemented for the Aztecs. So I'm going to assume you are familiar with the basics of the Genie editor. If not, there are other people who can show you how to do that. Go ahead and open the Genie editor, go to the Monk unit, go down to their tasks section, and you'll find the Convert ability as the second one there. Go ahead and copy that. Go to the military unit you want to give the ability to. I recommend using units with melee attack and 0 range. So once you've chosen the unit you want to give the conversion ability to, go down to their tasks section, go to the top of the list, hit Insert New. As far as I can tell, Convert, the ability has to be very near the top. Go ahead and hit Insert and paste in the conversion task. You'll see a few values. There's work value 1 and 2 for the minimum and maximum conversion times, as well as work range. Again, I highly recommend putting work range to 0. So now that you have the task, there are a few other things you need to do. There is a resource in the game, resource 279, that enables conversion for military units. So in addition to each unit having the conversion task, you need to have that resource set to non-zero. In my mod, I have one of that resource stored in the Wonder, in the same way that population cap is stored in a house. And if the Wonder is destroyed, that resource is lost, just as population room is lost if a house is destroyed.
There are a few other things to tweak if you like. You'll find that the same technologies that apply to monks apply to military units with conversion enabled. So for example, Theocracy, if you use a group of military units with the conversion ability to convert a single enemy, Only one of them will have to rest if you have Theocracy researched. Similar case for block printing, I believe that increases the range. And that's basically it for giving a military unit the conversion ability. I apologize again for the rushed nature of this. We'll probably do a deeper dive in this when I've done more experimentation with it. But hopefully I've covered that well enough. Again, in simplest terms, to give a military unit conversion ability, copy it from the monk, make sure it's the first task for the military unit, and enable the conversion with resource 279. You can fiddle with the other resources or attributes to tweak it how you want. When the Spanish build a wonder, they benefit from a new synergy between champions, halberdiers, and hand cannoneers, representing the component units of their famous tercios, and the effectiveness of combined arms. In this ideation and mod, champions provide healing to halberdiers, halberdiers increase the attack of hand cannoneers, and hand cannoneers improve the attack rate of champions. Admittedly, the reasoning for the specific buffs is not supremely logical, and of necessity is more constraint-based, as there are limitations to the capabilities of aura effects. The intuitive takeaway is simply that these units are significantly more effective when all used together. Of note is that the auras of these units are much smaller than those of centurions, meaning that the benefit is very dependent on maintaining a relatively close formation. In addition to being able to recruit and combine these units from their respective buildings, the Spanish player can now batch train a tercio trio as a single unit at their castles, at a slight discount of their total cost, and trained at a faster rate to make convenient use of this synergy. The fifth and final conqueror civilization is the Koreans, and unfortunately I don't have time to cover them properly here, but go check out Robby's video for the reveal and discussion of their bonus. Speaking of whom, and before we wrap up, let's hear from the man himself about a couple of the edgier ideas we considered as possible general wonder features.
Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robby Howell. In this design, Admiral and I were focusing on implementability. After all, Admiral wanted to make a mod for it. However, there were two other major ideas that we strongly considered that didn't quite make the cut because they felt a little too boundary pushing, at least at this point in time. The first of these was some sort of catch-up mechanism, a way for wonders to cost less or maybe take less building time if your opponent was doing substantially better than you. I actually really like this idea. It would allow the wonder mechanic to be less of just a win more thing and more of a way for a player on the back foot to claw their way back into the game. However, not only did it feel very fussy, if not borderline impossible to properly implement, but it also is largely unprecedented in AoE2 as of now, with the closest parallel being spies. So we decided to table that for future. The other idea that we strongly considered was having wonders being able to train heroes. Very splashy, very fun. People do love heroes. However, heroes are such a big topic, they kind of deserve their own committed video. Plus, we were a little concerned that it might make the whole build feel too gimmicky and unfocused. So we've saved both of those ideas for now, but we would love to hear what you guys think about these two more boundary-pushing ideas. Would you like to see them implemented, if possible, in future? And tell us what you think about the rest of our design writ large. Any feedback, any thoughts, any ideas, put them in the comment section of both of our videos. Admiral Wololo, thank you so much for having me on your channel. Ciao for now.
Alright, thanks to Robby for the cameo, and there are indeed a lot of additional ideas we could entertain going forward, including some that you may have thought of that we haven't mentioned yet, but we'll build that bridge when we get to it. So for now, the next step is simply getting your feedback and seeing if you're interested in further development of this topic and mod for the remaining 40 civilizations. Perhaps refurbishing the original Age of Kings civilizations with some fresh and fitting wonder powers. As always, I understand that the proposals explored herein will be too radical for some, and I've become a firm believer in finding compromises to satisfy the varying preferences of our broad player base without forcing unwanted changes upon all. Hence my continued advocacy for universalizing the most popular proposals and saving the spicier ones for new modes or mods, available to the interested. As for myself, I love this idea, at least as a game mode. But where does this idea of powerful, unique wonder bonuses fit in your estimation? As a potential universal change, a game mode, or as a mod? I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts and feedback, including if you'd like wonders to be more useful than they are now, but would prefer more toned down effects and abilities, or if you think that they should do even more than we've proposed. Be sure to check out my Age of Wonders mod if interested, as well as Robby Lava's video. That's all for today, and thanks for watching. This has been me wading into the wonderful, wide, wacky, and wild waters of ways in which world wonders would help workers win wealth or win a war without waiting a while. Till next time.
Shout out to Admiral Wololo AoE to check him out.